true that the Arabs and the Jews have been fighting for hundreds of years before America even became a country?
That notion appears in a book, which I don't recommend to the group, by Jimmy Carter. He wrote like 2 books on the Middle East, none of which I recommend. And it's called The Blood of Abraham. And he makes that claim, oh, the Arabs and Jews have been fighting for over. I mean, no, this is a modern conflict. I mean, I think that Zionists and Arabs can agree that this is a very modern conflict. This is essentially old, not more. I mean, Jews and Muslims and Christians have lived in the Holy Land for centuries. I mean, relationships have not been perfect, but I would say they definitely were better than relationships between, say, Jews who were expelled from Britain or Jews in Germany or other places. So I think this is an invented dictum by Zionists in America or supporters in order to justify the disregard of the suffering of the Palestinians and for the need to put an end to Israeli killing and occupation of Palestine.
So you're saying it's historically incorrect that the Arabs and the Jews were at war with each other for many, many years?
You read me correctly. Yes. Yes.
I have 2 questions, one about Obama and one about the peace process.
Yes.
So, your opinion on Brzezinski's latest Washington Post suggestion for Obama and the U.S. put its foot down on Israel and that kind of stuff as far as the peace?
He made it to me. What did he say in it?
He wrote in the Washington Post that this is the opportunity for Obama to take Arab leaders and take the quartet and go to Jerusalem and tell the Israelis that, it's in the Washington Post, that they need to choose, what's more, Jerusalem or peace. And this is the time to do it, and so on and so forth. And of course it's inspiring and lovely and whatever, but this totally contradicts what you just said as far as, and this guy is not a extremist, I mean, this is part of...
Oh, no, he is.
He's
Oh, he is extremist, of course, right?
Extremist on what level?
Anybody who is critical of Israel in the United States or the Israeli lobby is automatically dismissed as an extremist. Zbigniew Brzezinski, ever since he became outspoken against Israel in the last few years, he is no more seen as part of the mainstream of American political debate. He was mainstream when he was making fun of the Palestinians.
Right.
When he said famously in 1978, goodbye PLO or bye-bye PLO, he was mainstream. But when he's critical of the Israeli lobby in the recent years, he's not mainstream. He's dismissed in some circles as anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's totally, everything you're saying to me is really interesting because the latest supposed standoff between Hillary Clinton and Netanyahu, and a few days later in the front page of the New York Times there was a word in Obama's speech during the nuclear conference that is changing U.S. policy, and that is peace in Israel and the Palestinians, as the Petraeus report supposedly says, is in the U.S. strategic interest.
Yes, now they are saying, yeah, I mean, don't you like this? Now they are saying that maybe we need to address the grievances of the Palestinians, not because the Palestinians deserve justice, but because it's bad for American troops fighting wars in the Middle East region. I mean, basically that's what we're saying.
This was the front page of the New York Times
I know.
a week, 2 weeks ago.
But I should say the following. After Petraeus made that famous statement to Congress, he recently was,
Right.
I'm sure, made to go and address a pro-Israeli group and basically take back everything he said and to say how wonderful Israel has been to American troops in the country.
But is there such a shift? Supposedly, according to New York Times,
Right.
the American administration has a shift. For the first time, it is linking peace between the Palestinians and Israelis, the safety of U.S. soldiers.
No, I mean, I think basically this was...
And I'm sorry, Axelrod was on
Right.
the day after the Netanyahu settlement situation.
Right.
David Axelrod hinted that the safety of U.S.
No, I think my reading of it in the first page of the New York Times, it was deliberately placed on the front page in order to raise alarm and to put enough pressure so that the Obama administration will shift and will not make this a big case. And if you see what Petraeus said after that was printed, you realize it's basically meaningless and it's not true as a shift. That's my reading. Yes?
I have a series of questions, but I guess I'll start off with,
The last one.
yeah. All right, what is your take on, I don't want to get my hopes up on Egypt. I read your blog a lot, and I wanted to know what your
must tell you this, that I'm in touch with Egyptian journalists and activists and so on. There is such detestation for the Mubarak regime that America's attempt to ensure the son succeeds him is not going to be smooth for sure. I must tell you, a lot of people ask me these days about Baradei, and many are disappointed because I've made some passing critical references to him. And I'm not a fan of him whatsoever. I've been following him, reading his interviews and statements and so on. And I must tell you, he has been very shrewd and skillful in the statements he's been making and the way he's speaking. I should tell you that the ability of Baradei to appear as a mass leader is rather limited. I mean, the man has, if you watch him interviewed, the charisma of a cucumber. I mean, Hosni Mubarak is far much better, image-wise, as leadership style than Baradei. However, having said that, he's doing it along the lines of a Western-style campaign of a candidate coming from behind, and he amassed a very good, competent group of people. The surprise to me, however, is that his closest advisors are people I respect, like left-wingers, Nasserists, secularist Egyptians, who, in my opinion, have been pinning so much hopes on him. But I think that, again, it's like from Bush to Obama. I mean, from Mubarak to Baradei, I think people just are excited that he is not Hosni Mubarak or Jamal Mubarak or having the name Mubarak. I am more cautious about Baradei because although he's very shrewd, I am so impressed with how he's expressing himself in Arabic about all these issues that are so contested in Egypt. But I am much more critical of him because of the role he played in the international nuclear, what's called? IAEA, which is International Atomic Energy Administration? Agency. Okay. Because of that role he played, which it seemed to me was a very subservient role to the Americans. And the fact that he went along with not allowing the issue of Israel to be brought, as the Egyptian government was trying at some point. This is before the discovery of Jamal Mubarak as the gifted successor to Hosni Mubarak. When Egypt was making noise about the nuclear weapons of Israel. This is 2003, 2004, around that time. Yes, any other questions or observations before I flee the scene? Yes, please.
Well, when you talk about in terms of the U.S. discourse,
Yeah.
If I were to tell you that framing U.S. policy in the Middle East based on the sort of success of its occupation of Iraq or what goes on in Afghanistan, its relations with various Arab states,
Right.
or framing it in terms of what's quote unquote good for Israel. Let's take the 2006 war, for example.
Yeah.
If I were to tell you that the administration were to take a tougher line on Israel at that time, and even if they were to frame it